guys. Welcome to SolSista Trauma Podcast. We are here with another episode in our season 2. I'm Taquita.
I am Plum
She's muted.
Queen. I am Plum Queen.
I'm Queen Misha.
All right. And so today, guys, our episode, our topic of discussion is going to be about karmic relationships versus twin flames, trauma bonding versus healthy connection. So we're going to be looking like at the myths and the truths between the two, and kind of looking at the dynamic between the two connections and seeing how we can heal from these connections. Okay. So pretty much how I'm going to start this off, I'm going to start this off with, karmic relationships, right? So what is a karmic relationship? So a karmic relationship, it teaches us lessons we need to learn in this lifetime. Often like painful connections, tumultuous, toxic connections, right? And then the trauma bonding is pretty much the same. It's pretty much described as relationships that like are imbalanced, power struggles, unpredictable, rapidly changing roller coasters, intense highs and lows, and, very codependent energy. Gaslighting is one of the things that really kind of coincide with trauma bonding and karmic relationships. Gaslighting, my definition of that is, promises of love and affection and tenderness, and the promises are never fulfilled, right? And even if they do it, it's something that's temporary just to keep the person around long enough for them to just kind of go back through that same cycle again. Um, and it's just kind of like a push and a pull, and then the person, it's abuse and neglect and verbal abuse and things like that. So that is like that energy of gaslighting, but that kind of coincides with the trauma bonding and the karmic relationships. Now on the other hand, with the twin flame connections, my definition of what a twin flame connection would be is similar to a karmic relationship. All relationships will have is ups and downs or is in and outs. But with the twin flame connection, again, it's more so of like a mirror. You mirroring yourself. You seeing in what another person thinks that you see in yourself, and you both make that choice or that decision to heal that process. It's more of a healthy connection. Instead of y'all arguing about a situation, y'all are communicating maturely about the situation. Instead of somebody, putting you on D&D or, completely ignoring you, you all are having those face to face and confronting your issues and your situations at hand. Um, because, if you like disregard somebody and you go silent and give them the silent treatment, that is also a form of neglect and abuse. And that it also coincides with trauma bonding. So pretty much it's just connecting with somebody more on the spiritual plane. I actually have a tarot deck, and I want to give you all like this message that's on the deck because it definitely to me kind of coincides with like a twin flame soulmate connection. And I really love this saying. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, according to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms, 4 legs, a head with 2 faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 separate beings, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves. So that right there is like, pretty much one soul, and you all are, split into half, and you just kind of go or you come back to this earth and you are in search for your twin flame. And now in the process of you, you know, meeting your twin flame, the person you're supposed to be, your other half, your soul, um, you run into karmic relationships. And again, they're there to teach us lessons. So that's pretty much the difference between what a karmic and relationship and a twin flame connection is. Um, and so I kind of want to ask you all what your definition is of a twin flame and a karmic relationship. And then I kind of want to segue to, what the truths and myths of these connections are that people, stereotype and, they think. So what's y'all's?
Want to go first, Misha?
Sure. Sorry. All right. So for me, I feel like the twin flame connection is one where, like you said, it's basically two souls that's been split into half. So this can be a boyfriend, a brother, a best friend. It can be basically anyone. It's not just another or the opposite sex. Um, for me, I feel like the twin flame connection is one that a lot of people admire and they want their twin flame, but they don't recognize in order to be with their twin flame, they have to be willing to be triggered by that person, you know, because that person, you guys are going to heal through each other's presence because you're like each other's reflection. So the things that gets on their nerves is probably things that you need to work on and vice versa. Um, And then as far as the karmic relationships, I feel like karmic relationships are ones where, no, I don't know if necessarily you have to do anything wrong or good. Yeah, actually, I feel like, if you've been, I don't know if it was past life or current life, but, if maybe there was a past relationships where you didn't really display your best morals and character and, were a form of your lower self towards that person, like you can get that in a later relationships to understand how you made that person feel. Also, I feel like spirit can use karmic relationships in a good way. Like you can have a good karmic relationship where you like really get the person of your dreams, like the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, and that can be a gift from spirit because of all of the hard things you have been through in life. And so, yeah, I feel like karmic relationships, usually when people are miserable and they kind of been stuck with that person for 10 plus years in misery, that's like a good idea that it's probably a karmic relationship.
Okay. I guess that's all. I guess it's my turn. Okay. Well, I Google, you know what I'm saying? I like people, you know what I'm saying, to always put out there that we all should do our own research and things of that nature. So it's real easy to do a Google search. There are, of course, different, versions of it. I'm in a twin flame relationship, so how we move may be different than everybody else, but I'm going to show you guys what Google said about twin flames and karmic relate. Okay, so for twin flame definition is an intense soul connection with someone thought to be a person's other half, someone called a mirror soul. It's based on the idea that sometimes one soul can be split into two bodies. One of the main characteristics of a twin flame relationship is that it will be both challenging and healing. This is due to the mirroring nature of a twin flame. They show you your deepest insecurities, fears, and shadows, but they also help you overcome them, and vice versa. Your twin flame will be equally affected by you. Importantly, each person is still whole on their own, says a licensed psychotherapist. Not going to mess that person's name up. There is there is a misnomer that a twin flame completes you. She explained. In reality, relationships are meant to encourage you to be more complete on your own right.
Hmm.
So yes, and I can contest to that. I can definitely contest to that. So in my life, um, I've had three major relationships, and I don't feel that my first two were karmic, because like you guys were saying, it has this, when you think of a karmic relationship, it seems negative. And not to say that there were negative things that happened, because it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? They weren't meant to stay, but it wasn't very toxic. And maybe that also goes with karma, because karma is both things. Karma is the energy you put out, is the energy you get back. So if you're not putting out extra negative, you know what I'm saying, energy, even though there's things you need to learn, I don't think your relationship has to be toxic, or you have to be stuck in a 10-year marriage that you're unhappy in. You may go through what you go through, and you know what I'm saying, and then move on. And I feel like, that would explain my first two relationships. Because they weren't bad. You know what I'm saying? They weren't bad. But they definitely started off, with ill intentions. I will say there weren't pure intentions in heart, and I learned my lessons. Now I can't speak for them, can't say if they've learned, what I'm saying, from those relationships, but I know I have, and I felt like that's what led me to my twin flame. Now with my twin flame, like it says, it's challenging, but it's healing. So yes, we had our disagreements. Yes, we've had our ups and downs and things of that nature, but we've grown through them, and it's been a healthy process.
Mm.
I'll say
That's
that.
what's important.
Yeah, whenever we do have an issue, it's not toxic. No name calling. No degrading. I don't emasculate him. We don't say things we don't mean, or now I have done that in the beginning when I wasn't healed. A couple of things like I hate you. Little stuff like that. Nothing bad, but little stuff like that. But again, I had to learn better, and I've definitely grown. And my other two relationships only lasted a year and a half. Me and him been together almost 13 years. So though this relationship is mostly about my growth, about both of our growths, not being the same people that we used to be. And I think we need to start thinking that way when we get into relationships. We're worrying so much about someone loving us, you know what I'm saying, and then holding on to that love forever and ever and ever, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, instead of understanding truly why people are in your life in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is meant to stay. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and forever is a long time. I'll keep saying that. So I understand why we feel like what the first thing you see in that you like is going to be the end all, and
Forever.
be all. And I think we need to change, what I'm saying, that perspective on relationships, period. And I think that would lessen the karmic relationships a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So
Yes.
I guess that's my definition of the two with my experience. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's that.
So kind of get going, kind of segueing to like the truths and the myths of like a karmic and a twin flame relationship. I definitely agree with the lessons and things being learned, and people come into your life. Some people are there, like they said, for seasons and for a reason, and others, they're there for a while. So you kind of have to use your discernment when with connections, and then of course, like with the karmic relationships, when people come into your life, of course, they're you have to kind of look at what this connection is trying to teach me. A lot of times we get into connections, and like you said, we get so caught up in what we want and our expectations of a connection that we lose sight of what this is really teaching me. Is this a karmic lesson? And then some people again hold on to connections, and that's kind of like where I'm kind of wanting to go, because a lot of people will feel like you still constantly, like me personally, just putting myself in it. I constantly went through the same situation. I would meet a different person, but I felt like I was going through the same thing over and over again, constantly meeting men where I would come to a deadline. And it's like I had to kind of look in the mirror and say, okay, what is this teaching me? Why am I constantly keep meeting the same people? And I use the analogy of like a game, Mortal Kombat. So you know how you have these different bosses that you have to beat, and each one they become more harder, or you start to see the difference. Whatever in the whatever you're whoever you're playing or whoever you're fighting, and you keep fighting these people until you get to the main one. So I kind of look at karmic relations, because we would go through more, like maybe like 80% or 90% karmic relationships
Mm.
in our life. Majority of them are karmic because they're there to teach us lessons, to get us prepared for
Oh
ourselves
boy.
so we can become a better person for the person that we're supposed to be. And a lot of people don't look at it like that, and they lose sight of that. So when you constantly keep going through the same thing, you have to look and you have to say, what is this trying to teach me? What do I need to learn? What information do I need to gather from this, so that I can move on to the next level, to the next boss, and fight the next person and win that battle. And like they say, it's levels to this shit. So you have to, it's like it's levels. You have to learn your lessons, or you'll constantly keep repeating those cycles. So once you learned your lessons, I feel like you will stop meeting similar people and going through those similar situations. Now there may be another set of situations that you may have to face. And again, but with experience, you have that discernment. And then a lot of people, it's temporarily, it's only lasts longer than what you needed to when you hold on to something that is not meant for you. I'm going to pause because I want to read what they say. So,
Sorry, I just peeped the
oh
comment.
no, you're fine.
I'll read it out loud. I think for me as a man, what helped me was taking accountability for my past and not bringing the baggage into my current marriage by allowing each other to grow from each perspective. From a woman's perspective and me from a man's perspective, allowing the mental and spiritual growth.
That's
Yes.
important.
And that's beautiful, and that's good that you're doing that, because a lot of men, are afraid to take that accountability and really say, okay, I need to grow so that I can be better for myself, so that I can be
Right.
better for the next person. A lot of people, and not just men, women do it too. They don't learn their lessons. They get ego, they get their head get too big, and they feel like it's nothing wrong with them. And they're not learning the lessons, and then they keep repeating these cycles, and then they're keep ending up with people, and they're wondering why they're miserable. And again, like you said, Misha, they end up in connections longer than what they need to. But like I said, with karmic relationships, they're meant to be temporary. They only
Mm-hmm.
are longer when we hold on to them
Onto
thinking
it.
that it's more to it than what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Like, you have to recognize the lesson when it is presented to you, so you can make
Right.
that decision. We have free will to make that decision to go in a different direction and move on, or stay in that connection. And I can say that has happened for me. I have had a situation where I was dealing with somebody, and like you said, it wasn't like it was a good or a bad situation. It was actually a really good connection. We got along very well, but it came to its peak where it was like, okay, what are we doing? And then it's kind of like going through my lessons that I've learned in life. My situation was I held on to situations that I knew was not good for me, because it wasn't progressing or moving forward. It became stagnant, and we were just repeating the same thing over and over again. So I recognized what that was, and I knew what it was. And now it's, again, spirit is saying you're faced with this decision. Are you going to stay in the situation and keep going through this again after you
Mm-hmm.
already know, you've already woken up to this? Or are you going to say, no, I choose me. I choose better for myself. I've learned my
Right.
lesson. Now it's time for me to move to the next level. So I had to make that choice, even though it was hard. And it's like spirit makes it hard, because again, the connection, it wasn't nothing wrong with the connection. It was just we're two different people in two different places in life. And that's
Mhm.
okay. And I had to realize that some people that is more, operating from a low vibration, will look at that and they'll get mad, they'll get angry, and they'll be frustrated. But I just look at it like it was just unfortunate. It was disappointing in a way, but at the same time, I wasn't angry, I wasn't mad. It was just like, okay, it is what it is, because you are on a different path than I am. You still got stuff that you're trying to do, and unfortunately, I'm not here to force you, to make you to be in something that you're not ready for. My job, we've reached our peak. It is what it is. I understand what it is, and now it's time for me to move on to the next. Now, if something comes back for again, then let it be. But for right now, it's time for me to release this and keep it pushing. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
really about kind of recognizing and learning lessons from past situations, and recognizing where you are. And you, again, you have free will to make that decision to go stay in that situation or move on. That's your choice. So when you look up 10 years from now, you're still in the same merry-go-round roller coaster situation. At that point, you have nobody to blame but yourself, because you had ample amount of opportunities to leave that connection, to move on, to go to another situation, right? So that's that situation. So a lot of people also hold on to.
Let
Oh,
me
go
make
ahead.
a point to what you said before you move to something else.
Hmm.
I think a way to make, and I know y'all not gonna like it, but I think we need to bring courting back. I think that was
Hmm.
the point of courting.
Yes.
You
Yes, I love courting.
I know
Please.
you do. I know you
I swear,
do.
the first person to court me, I'm gonna cook for them
Right.
every
Take
day.
me
We need
on
to
a
bring that
date.
Every
back.
Buy me
day.
Please bring
flowers.
that back.
Yes,
The
We need to
the
bring
simple
first
that
stuff.
person that tries to ask my grandfather or my father by my hand in marriage. That's the person
Yes.
right
Yes.
there. I love that stuff.
I will co-sign all that. I don't know how this new generation of folks gonna feel about that.
Oh well, that's why I date older men because I ain't got
I
time
can
for
dig
this
it.
new generation.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, what I feel is if we do the courting minus the sex, mind you, during courting, guys, there's no sex. I think, ladies, you will be able to get more on board with that because a lot of women don't want to go through man after man after man after man. You know what I'm saying? That is looked at, as you being a hoe or you being loose and all that. But we're made to believe that we're just supposed to pick that one person we picked. They picked us, we picked them, and that's supposed to be it. And it doesn't work that way. But if we weren't just out having sex in the beginning of the relationship, then it would be all right for you to go out a date, with that old dude right here. And then, oh, well, this guy wants to take me out to dinner over here. And you can
Mhm.
actually choose your options. You know what I'm saying? But if it's giving your body away and giving away that energy, that turns it
You
into something.
feel, you
And
start
not
to
only giving
feel
it.
obligated. You start to have that form, that emotional attachment, and it becomes
Absolutely.
harder
Mhm.
for you to navigate and date other men.
Other
And
men.
then
Absolutely.
yeah, a lot of people get caught in situations and they feel like, oh, I'm in a relationship, but they're not in a relationship.
Well, see,
Plus,
that,
it's not about just given because also you take on a lot of people's spirits, whoever they've been with. Also, those
Hmm.
people's spirits and energies, because our skin is like technology, so it remembers people touch. That's why when you're married after 10 years, when your husband touches your back, you know whose hand it is. It's because your body remembers that. So on a on an energetic
right.
level, you exchanging
Right.
energy, spirits, traumas, diseases, all that every time. Whether you want to admit it or not, it don't matter how many condoms you use, because energy transmutes past things like that. Sadly,
Yeah,
so a condom don't really do nothing for you taking on someone's sexual
Oh, no.
abuse. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
no, no, no. It only potentially prevents pregnancy.
right?
yeah. It's possibilities.
And potential is the key word to that is potential because shit happens.
Yes,
All the time. But yeah, if we can get back to actually getting to know people before we commit ourselves, that would, that would bring down the number of karmic relationships because you'll figure this stuff out before you get attached.
quicker.
You'll
Yeah,
yeah, you'll
that's
see
so
them red
true.
flags and don't try to make them green.
And you won't get so blinded by your emotions. And
Right,
especially
exactly.
with females, with women, with feminine energy, we
Yep.
more are more emotionally driven,
I'm
and
not
men
gonna
are
say that.
more
No,
mentally
because with
driven.
all the estrogen in this food, these men are emotional as hell. Okay,
That's
But
that's the
they
it.
know
lighter
how
touch
to hide
word.
it better than us. Let
No,
me
they
just
don't.
let,
No, they don't.
They
I
don't.
don't know.
no,
I
that's
be
not
knowing they
either.
turn into big
Yeah,
babies.
this
Big
is
babies.
2022. It's a
Yes,
tad bit
no. I be
different.
looking at
You're
them
right.
like, am I
You're
just
right.
insensitive? Am I cold? Or are you really overreacting right now? Like this is, but that's the tall tale sign for either male or female, for like being unhealed, because you
Yeah.
don't have that logic behind your emotions. You
Yeah,
just
and that's another thing.
emotions.
And a lot of people just lead with their emotions. They form that emotional attachment, and a lot of times through sex, but it can come from other things as well. Spending time with people and things like that, and you form those emotional bonds and connections. And sometimes we allow our emotions to overtake us and lead us when we need to use more discernment and be more logical when moving forward in connections. But another reason why people have a hard, okay, let me stop and read this. Getting to know one another is me all day. Yeah, and
Mm.
that's great, and a lot of
I
people.
love that
Right.
you
All
initiated
right,
that
Mr.
too.
I do love that.
Vocabulary.
All right.
Yes, I love that, and more men should do that. I feel like a lot of men just think, they just,
With their root
and
chakra.
then some people be like, well, it doesn't, and like I'm not. It's people that I know. Like I've met people on the other side of the other spectrum of it. Like I know a couple people who has sex and it was just like a sexual based thing, and they're still married years later. So, I mean, it honestly can go either way. It just really depends
But
on
those
your
people
intent
probably
in that situation.
They probably spiced it up in their bedroom too. Then if their sex life
Because
is sex
they've been,
based,
yes, it's like they've been married ever since, and they're happily married, no issues, no nothing. So it just, and that's why I kind of feel I have my ways. Like I feel like sex doesn't matter, and then other times I feel like it does. I just kind of feel like it just depends on your
the
maturity level
person
and where
too.
you are.
It does
Because if
depend
you're
on
too
maturity.
emotional and you're too codependent and you're not really
Mhm.
stable emotionally, you can get hurt easily and you can get whatever.
Mhm.
But if you good and you ain't stressed out and you have a healthy balance of logic and emotions, you could possibly get into a connection where you can have sex with somebody and it can lead to something, long term, So
Yep.
it just really depends.
That's how my situation happened. We definitely started off
Yeah.
as plug buddies. I had no At the time, I did not even think that a man would, take me seriously like that. So I was just happy to be a Missy steady dick. I was just happy about that, and I wasn't gonna say nothing about it. I was gonna go with it,
Okay.
and it just, yeah, 13 years later.
I feel this is my thing. I feel like men are more subject to falling for women who are detached from their emotions and more go with the flow. If a woman comes off too emotional to him, I feel like that scares men and they kind of fall back. When they see a woman is not as attached or, coming on emotionally, that draws them to them more. And
Well,
so it kind of makes, especially me as a female, it feels like women have to be more like detached and aloof when it comes to
nah,
connections in
that's
order
back
to
to
kind of
maturity.
gauge what a man is feeling for them
That's back
and
to
if they're
maturity.
interested.
Now that's back to maturity.
That's being healed.
Yeah,
Like I
and
said,
Yeah.
because
maturity
then
too.
you can feel the emotion, but how you react to it is what matters. And so
Right.
rather
Yeah.
than cut, like I just watched a video, y'all. A girl was into it with her man, and I guess he was getting his stuff out the trunk, and she randomly just backs up trying to hit him and runs over his stuff, and then he moves in front of the car, and she wrecks her car trying to hit him, and then backs up and does it a third time. And I was like, wow, people really out here in relationships like this, like.
Yes.
Like
She
what?
That's
just tried to
sad.
kill you
Not
three
my
times.
car. Look, I got
Yes, and
places to
destroyed your
go.
car.
Not
Like,
my car. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's relationships like that.
It's
That's a
crazy.
that's maturity. That's a
yeah.
mature level because like I'm a very emotional person. And at the beginning of my relationship, I was insecure and I felt the same way. That I didn't want to come on too strong. I didn't want to do nothing extra to make him, want to, move on to somebody else who's less, I'm saying, less of a problem or,
Yeah.
less of a liability kind of thing. But
Right.
he's an older man, like you said, Nisha. You know what I'm saying? He's an older man, so he grew up around women. So he understands how women are. So mature, I'm not gonna say real men, mature men, are going to understand, you know what I'm saying? You understand what you're doing. Men see us from giddy up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the men in the feed, if you listen and can contest to that. They analyze us in a way where they already know these things. They know if we're emotional. They know if we have attachments. They know our insecurities. They see all these things. You know what I'm saying from rip because they're analytical. You know what I mean? So a lot of the times, men pick you knowing that you're emotional. They say they don't like it, but they pick you because they want a little bit of that codependency, so they can get you
Mm-hmm.
thrown out you. You know what I'm saying? But then once it gets too much,
They like,
It's a
you know what I'm saying?
balance,
It's
man.
like, okay, then I can
It's a
just go.
yeah,
balance.
it's a
Yeah.
balance. It definitely
See, that's
is.
that
And
karmic
then,
relationship stuff. Those are
yeah,
karmic
it
relationship
is.
behaviors. That's not
And
2020.
then like that's that low self-esteem and insecurity. People have codependency, they fear being alone, and that's another reason why people hold on and stay attached to karmic relationships. They don't have the self-esteem to feel like they can just be by themselves or that it's okay. And again, they feel like it's wasted time. Oh, I put all these years into this man. I'm not about to leave him for somebody else to get him. Okay, so you rather stay in a karmic relationship and keep
And
dealing
be
with the same shit
miserable.
over and over again?
Because
Like, make it make
Beyonce
sense,
said, "Bring me your love. I was looking for off, but I can tell you
girl.
that you with
Okay,
another chick on your arm."
okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I've had that feeling before too. Like when I was with my kid's father, I'm like, I didn't put too much time and energy into this. I got 3 kids. No, absolutely not. But then,
That's
again,
how I
that
felt about.
maturity, you have to kind of step into it and you got to be like, yes, you spent all this time but at the same time, why
It
would
is
you
not
want to
worth
continue
it.
to
You
keep
can do
dealing
it
with it?
again.
It's not worth
Or you
it.
don't
You
even
are
have to do it
now
again.
aware. Yeah, you are now aware of what it is. Now you have that choice to say, am I going to continue to deal with this, or am I going to just pick up whatever years I got left and move on and find something else, or try, be open to
Something more in
something else.
alignment.
So, and now, and it does, and it's so crazy that we be so in the thick of stuff that we are so blinded by our emotions and our feelings. And I can attest for myself. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but it's not until I'm on the other side of stuff I be like, what was I like, really? Like, it's like you come to and you like, oh my God.
First
And that right
relationship.
there just helps me to kind of trust my discernment more and trust my intuition more, and be
Mm-hmm.
like, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And it just is what it is. It's not no hard feelings. It is what it is. When you're not equally yoked with somebody, when that
Personally, I
person
know
is
that
not for
I'm
you. You just know,
going.
you have that gut feeling. And again, we just tend to stay with people out of fear, out of
Yeah, we don't want to
codependency,
fail. We don't want to
all of
fail. We
that.
don't have a failed marriage. We don't want to have a failed relationship because it makes it seem like
Mhm.
there's something wrong with us instead of looking at it as, okay, this is
It's a
just not
lesson.
the person. It's
It's
a
Period.
just a
lesson.
lesson.
This is just not the right
Change your
person.
perspective.
Yeah, like maybe
Instead
you
of
need to
looking
leave
at
the
it as
house,
wasted time, we
leave the
got to look at it
neighborhood,
as learned lessons.
move to another
Yeah.
state. There are a trillion. There are trillions of people on this earth. You've only lived in certain places, so
Hmm.
we should not
Yeah.
we should not
Yeah. Sometimes it's
take
just
on that
that you need
pressure
to
to think that
move.
you're a failure because you couldn't find somebody in the 10, you know what I'm saying, square radius, 10-mile square radius of your community.
Okay.
There's too
Hmm.
many people in the world. So yeah, if we look at these things as lessons,
Hmm.
not failures.
It makes dating much funner.
Yeah, like even
Yeah.
think about when you were a kid. Think about if you was a baby and you decided to give up on learning how to walk.
Right.
Think about that. All the times you fell, you know what I'm saying, all that. But can you imagine if babies just gave up like, fuck it, yo, I fell twice, so
I'm not gonna do
I'm
this
just not
anymore.
gonna
I'm
walk. You
done.
just gonna carry me.
Even if
You
you
know what
fall
I'm saying?
10
For the rest
times,
of
For
you
the
my
rest
still
of
life,
gonna
your
keep
I'm not
life.
with
going.
this shit. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine that? So yeah, we gotta feel the same way. You know what I mean about that? Like, and love is a service, guys. That's another thing.
Mm.
You gotta be and give what you want to get. And I know we feel like that's what we do when we get in these relationships, but it's a difference between giving love freely or just doing things to get the ring.
Mhm.
See what I'm saying? You cooking,
Mhm.
cleaning, sucking dick, doing all that jazz and all this other stuff so you can get the ring
Because you have
Right.
an
because you
expectation.
have an
Mhm.
expectation of that. That's not pure love.
No.
Mhm.
That's
Has nothing to
that's
do
not
with it.
that
That's the
yeah, that's not
material.
what
That's
that is.
just,
And that's what you
yeah.
expect them to give to you. So you
Mhm.
can't get something that you're not giving.
But
If
when you give freely and you give with no expectations, then you're not losing out on anything.
no,
Because even if you're not
Yes.
getting that ring in the end, you still got to experience. You still love. You still gave with everything in you, and now you can again use that as a lesson. And
that's
again, it's
their
just your
loss.
perspective. It's changing your perspective. And just because somebody, one person, and this is a thing, and this is how I felt like this before too. So I have a friend who has moved on, in a relationship and all of that, but she was dealing with the guy prior to, dealing with them for years or whatever. Met his kid, just family, all of that, and that don't mean shit nowadays. You can meet the mama, it don't mean nothing. But anyways, she, did all of that, and of course, she's like, okay, where's this going? He, we're doing this, and yes, we're friends, we establish this, I'm purchasing things for you, we're doing business, all of this stuff that a wife or a girlfriend, things like that would do. And she finally woke up and realized that, okay, this is not it, this is not going anywhere. And I can't remember his reasons behind not wanting to commit to her or move things forward or progress things forward, but months later he was with somebody else. And it's like right there, and I understand, and that makes you feel like, well, I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or he left me and he got with that person. I had that happen to me too. I had a man dealing with me, and just went off and got married to somebody else, while I was still under the assumption that we were dealing with each other. So I know how hard it can be to find out that the person that you put all this time and energy to is just now they're with somebody else. It's fucked up. It really is. And it makes you, and if you're not healed and you're not in a good place, you will feel like you're unworthy, like something is wrong with you. You will start to point the blame at you. But just because one person does not see your worth does not mean that you're worthless. That does not dictate your worth to work to the world or who you are, just because one person doesn't value it or doesn't see it. It just means that that person wasn't meant for you, or, and that's fine. And a lot of times when stuff like that happen, it's just the universe orchestrating some shit and trying to get some shit out your way anyways. And all you can say is
Right.
thank you, and you just keep it moving.
Ooh,
But it's
Well,
hard.
and on
It's
the
so
girl.
hard. It is. It's hard. You like that? Like what?
I'm
Like
not
you
mad
just
at
told me you
them,
went
but I
ready.
am
You pop up with,
so
oh
glad.
girl.
I am so glad. I'm cool with the last one. We cool. You know, we cool. But you know what I'm saying? I dodge bullets. I dodge bullets. Like your ancestors, God, whoever you want to give the credit
Mhm.
to, that's looking out for you. I promise you, they take care of you. They see
Yeah,
they see things you don't see, hear
that you don't see.
conversations you can't hear. They know what's up. So I promise you, anybody that leaves your life,
it's supposed to.
Let them
Period.
leave.
they're
Done.
Let
supposed
them
to.
go.
It's too
They have
many fish.
served their
Too many
purpose,
fish. Too
and
many
it's time
souls.
for them to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, let your universe lead
Not your children.
you.
You have no obligations to stand in a relationship that you don't. Not children, not a marriage, not words,
All of
not
that,
shit. If
all of
you
that.
and your soul feel like you are being lowered in your energy, your vibration, or you being held off your path or taken off your path, then that is your job and responsibility to look out for yourself and to remove that yourself from those energies and stay on track.
Hmm.
You know, you just do yourself a disservice when you
By staying on
go
that.
along with something that you know you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah, that you know your soul is trying to wake you up to and get you to realize certain stuff.
Like
You
they
just
tried to make
gotta.
me stay with my ex husband. I had a professor literally get mad at me because I wouldn't wait till my graduation to divorce my ex husband. Like, I mean, that's when I'm thinking about how can I benefit the most out of a situation whilst, I didn't have that mindset. I just wanted my freedom. I just wanted my peace. So I got to go right now because at this point, I feel right now like my soul is being, like I'm dying, like I'm
Hmm.
being drained. So I don't want to wait 3 more months, 6 more months when I feel drained already now. I'm not going to make it that long.
Right. And
I'm
people
going to
don't
be sick.
understand that peace is everything. Like when I got out of
Mm.
that situation dealing with that guy where he ran off and got married to somebody else, like when I tell you, I didn't care for anything in the world. All I wanted was peace. I just wanted to be in a position to where I did not have that emotional attachment. And you also, a lot of people do this. They go back and forth. You might call, you might text or whatever, and people get down on themselves and get hard, but you have to understand that's just the human reaction. And you can't, get down on yourself for just being human. You just learn the lessons and you keep moving forward. It's part of the process. It's part of the healing process. You're going to go back, you're going to backstep, and you're going to feel some type of way, but you just got to keep pushing and you can't give up. You have to heal. And once you get to that point, like when I woke up and I'm like, I'm good. Then I woke up the next day and I'm like, I'm good. And you just keep getting up. And then the more you get up and the more you just wake up and you realize how good you are, you don't have no attachment. You have no feelings. You can think of this person and you don't think of them in an ill way. You're not mad. You're not angry. You're just at peace. The having that peace that surpasses all understanding when you get out of situations like that is nothing like it. That's how you know you are healed. And people need to start doing that before
Yeah.
they get into other connections. Some people feel like they got to get under somebody else to get over them, but it's not. It's just a band-aid over a
And you
motherfucking stab
suppressing it.
wound.
That's you
That's
just
all it
suppressing it.
is. You're just
And
suppressing it. So
it's
people
not
need to
fair to
learn
the
how to
person.
heal.
Right,
And it's
It's
exactly.
not
It's
fair
not.
not
to
fair to
It's
the
not.
person.
treat
It's so
somebody
Don't
not.
bring your
Because
unhealed.
you're still
it's not
attached
fair.
emotionally to this person. And now this
No.
person is coming in trying to, whatever. They could be the right person for you, but you're not even available emotionally for this person. And you're doing the
Hmm.
same thing to them that they did to you. It's just, what is you
Hmm.
like? No, you have to
Right.
heal. So I like I wish that everybody had that mindset to do that and stop, running
Now
from
that
one
doesn't say
connection to
don't.
another.
That doesn't say put walls all around you and block
Yeah,
everybody
of
out. You're
course.
supposed to stay open at all times to whatever experiences spirit has for you. It's just doing it
But
with a
just
level
be
of
protected
detachment to
and
where when you
discernment.
do that, yes, and using your discernment and your intuition, look for red flags and then take the red flags and react with the red flags. Like, don't just be like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, but there's still potential because potential can't always be kinetic energy. So you
Mhm.
can't just make decisions off potential energy. Because
No,
if that person don't have the kinetic energy to apply to the potential energy, then you're just gonna be sitting there stagnant with no energy.
with no
Period.
energy.
You know, so it's
When
like you
stuff
have to
stop
really
moving and it stop rotating and it stop flowing, it's time for you to
you just stuck.
exit. It's
Yeah, and
time for
that's
you
what
to
I
exit
did.
because you will forever be stuck in this hamster wheel, merry-go-round bullshit. And if you want better for yourself, you will leave that situation alone
Yep,
if you know what's best for you.
Anything
exactly.
that doesn't grow dies.
Yes, it dies.
So
Period.
So
you don't
don't
grow,
continue to be in a
you die.
stagnant connection or
Yeah,
situation.
absolutely.
Yo, I saw a 10-year photo of myself from 10 years ago for the first
I
time.
saw that.
And
You look, that does not look
I
like
was like, ooh, ooh, that was childhood trauma. That was childhood trauma photo, because I was like 18 at the time. So like I was still
Mm,
experiencing childhood trauma still. So it's like, yeah, seeing that, like, it's worth it to know that when you're entering a relationship, you're not bringing any serious baggage.
yes.
Like you may still have some flaws, like, but you're not bringing nothing that's going to stop that person from what they're trying to accomplish or do. It's just going to
Hmm.
enhance. You should only be around energies that motivate, enhance, and grow you. And you
Hmm.
do the same for them. You don't just take. You have to
You
give too,
give. It
like
has
you
to be
said.
reciprocal. It has to be
Yep.
equal give and take. It has to be a balance.
I'll say this in
Hmm.
my experience. I'm technically the nice one. I'm all love and light and bubbles and I like everybody and he's kind of, the guy in the bag, he don't really like nobody but me and his kids. That's about it, kind of thing. But I feel like I'm the one who always apologizes. I don't take into I don't just think just because I'm a nice person and because I do what I do and I love him the way that I love him that I'm above reproach. I know what my childhood traumas are. I know, what I'm saying, the examples that I've had around me. And I do my due diligence to check myself at all times, even when I'm upset. Most of the time, I'm the one who gets upset about things because he triggers, with my twin flame, he triggers my insecurities. You know what I mean? And now that I'm aware of that, I can't help how I feel. I'm working on how I feel, but I do have control over how I react and how I behave. You see what I'm saying? So I will feel, cry my tears, you know what I'm saying, have my little attitude. But I always apologize and I always try to explain, what I'm saying, to him why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling and I'm working through it while I'm talking to him. Because at the end of the day, I value him just as much as I want him to value me. I mean, he's my mirror. So again, I can't hurt him because hurting him hurts me. That's another thing about a twin flame relationship. You don't think twice about what you do and how you do because that's how strong that connection is. There's no way you can see that person hurt and it doesn't affect you.
I'm
So
not with everybody, so I mean, that's just how I am. I don't do unto others that I don't want done unto
now
me.
you don't
The
know.
So
golden
I and
rule,
I don't think I've
period.
ever met no
Nah. But what
twin
this is what
flame
I'm
yet.
Period.
no. This is what I'm so when you meet him, girl, you don't understand. It's one thing to not want to. I don't do unto others either. But see, I don't feel an aching pain in my soul if I rub somebody else the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to hurt
Because
nobody.
at the end of the day, you're one soul still. You're literally
Right.
that one
So you
soul. So
see, you
you
can
Exactly.
feel each
feel,
other and
So
yeah.
when
everything.
every time I've ever told him I hate him, right after I said it, I went into depression.
Oh, it's so not nice.
It's not, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Because I was so enraged. Again, my insecurity.
Yeah.
so upset, so upset. I hate you. Why are you making me feel this way and all that? And all he does is sit there and listen and look at me.
And just be depressed.
And then it makes me more sad and more depressed and all that because now I
Right.
feel badder
Mm-hmm.
because it would be different if he was giving me that
Right.
same energy. I probably would feed off of that, like, and it would probably would
Yeah.
be toxic. But he don't even
Yeah.
do that. He'll just sit there, let me say what I have to say, cry, whatever. Won't dispute me, won't the debate, won't tell me I'm wrong. None of that. He just lets me feel how I feel and let me get it out, and it makes me feel worse. So now I consciously, now that I'm healed, I consciously, you know what I'm saying, make sure that if I'm in that state, I kind of just I'm standoffish more now. Now I don't
Mm-hmm.
like to read because I haven't figured out how to behave yet. I'm being honest. I'm keeping it real. Like I'm, yo,
So,
what you see is what you get with me. You know when I'm upset because I'm so happy for the most part. I'm
yeah.
bubbles and you know what I'm saying. Sometimes I gotta tone it down because like when I be talking to professional people, I be sending them emojis and stuff, and
I
then
know, me too. Me too.
I
And
have
they'd be
to
like, oh,
be
Misha,
out there
no,
like, wait, no, this is
no.
a professional situation.
But
That's
at
not
the same
professional.
time, you're supposed to be yourself. Maybe not emojis, because that is a little extreme.
That's it. Yeah,
But
yeah, that's a little it's
uh,
unprofessional, but that's what I'm
true.
used to. If I say hello to
Right.
you, I say Grand Rising, I got
You
the
go get a
smiley
little solar
face.
system with the
Yeah, I
star
got all
and
that
the
popping for
sun
you.
ball.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
how I am. That's how I express myself. I can't help it. But I'm learning the business because yeah, I gotta run my business the way I need to run my business. But
Balance.
when I don't know how, because I don't want to be I don't want to do a 180. I don't want to be mean and nasty and vindictive and all of that. So I just close in. I'm just quiet and I'm one wordy and no more gush and mush, no emojis. It's just yes.
But is that your thinking time? Is that when you're analyzing how to
I
emotionally,
am. I
logically
am because I
respond to
don't know
the
what
situation?
right. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I don't want to dismiss how I'm feeling at the moment. So I'm trying to process that and
Right.
trying to
Because I'm the
find,
same way.
yeah, because I don't, especially with people that I love, I don't like hurting the people that I love. I don't care how I feel, no matter how you make me feel. So yeah, I had to work. I had to work on that. So if I don't go off, then there's nothing, you know what I'm saying, for me to pull back from. So I just try, and I'm getting better. I'm getting better. But I always keep in mind my behavior and I always hold myself accountable in my relationship. I don't ever just think because I'm the best, I'm the Dandada plump queen in this bitch, so I'm the goddess and I don't, yes, I am, but he's my king. He's the Dandada, all of that, all of that as well. So I always keep that in check. You know what I'm saying? And that's what helps with, you know what I'm saying, with keeping this twin flame relationship on an up and up and growing and then even with it. I don't know what the end is either. I don't know if we're gonna be together for 13 years. It's a long time, but that's not forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And
I
you
don't
know
know.
what? It's okay if you don't end up in a relationship with your twin flame. You don't really want karmic relationships, but everybody thinks the twin flame relationship is just you just got the perfect. And no, that's not
It's
actually like your perfect
not.
person.
No,
Like
no,
that's
no. It's
that's
not.
just a really strong connection. That's a one where you know you're gonna know if something happens to that person in your gut. Like you're gonna be like, no, this person isn't answering because something's wrong. That's that
Mhm.
type of relationship. But you can have your divine masculine, divine feminine relationships where it's just two powerful souls of each, like a very strong feminine energy and a very masculine energy, and they can, just complement each other and be the perfect like teammates slash partners. And then you have
Those are big
relationships.
soulmates. I call those
Well,
those
you have
are
different
big
soulmates,
soulmates.
so that's why I didn't say soulmates because my daughter's one of my soulmates.
Absolutely.
My
They're
best
not
friend's
just
one of my
soulmates.
soulmates. Yeah, soulmates can be anyone as well, and so this is why I understand some people who get into polygamous relationships because they have fallen in love with multiple people genuinely. Um, so yeah, soulmates can, and that's another thing. People have to know the difference. Like a soulmate is not just one person and just the opposite sex.
Mm-mm.
Like your children, your family members, your friends, best friends. Like you can have multiple teacher. It could be that
You're
one
in a
teacher.
relationship with everybody you encounter with. We need to
Yes,
understand
they
that.
are all
When we
you.
go to romance, first thing we go is to romance. Everybody you come in encounter with, we have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Me, you know what I'm saying? Scorpio Sun and Misha, we have a relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's a business friend relationship. You know what I mean? And it's growing. I like y'all. Y'all awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a relationship with my mom. Like my mom is another person that I have a very strong, relationship with. But I don't express it the same way I express with my man, you see. That's just the difference. So we need to get that, and I think we need to put more emphasis on just relating to people in a healthy way. You know what I'm saying? Than these titles and having to bad my man, even with the twin flame and karmic flames and all of these titles that we put on them. Honestly, for relationships, you do unto others as you want to do. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? If you know how you want to be treated, so reciprocate that same thing. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. I promise you. Anything less is a lesson, and it's not less.
Hmm.
It's what you need to learn. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
you
exactly what you
better.
need.
Yeah, it's
Period.
what you
Okay,
need,
every
or,
relationship,
or it
and
wouldn't have
even if
happened.
it's
Yeah,
right, and if now and after a certain amount of time, the only reason it got so bad is because you refused to pay attention
To
to the
leave.
signs and to
so now
leave.
it has to get. Now we got
Exactly.
to get
And that's
drastic to get it.
accountability.
Yeah.
That's being able to say, you know what, that was my bad. Because
Mhm.
the longer you spend in the wrong relationships, the longer you stand
You
away from the
preventing
right
yourself from
Better
getting
relationships.
to
get
the
in the
right
right
You
one.
one.
know,
True.
and that's not fair to you or your person or
No,
that
it's not.
person and their person. Like,
That's a
everybody
fact.
just be with their
Y'all
people.
holding up the line.
You right
Right.
for
Y'all holding the
real.
line up.
Real for real.
Absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
I
Like,
This
need
get
to
is
out of
why
know.
I
that
say
relationship.
people don't like it when I say this, but I feel like if you're going to do the legal married route, if you're going to go that route, you should not do that unless you know that person for at least 10 years.
No,
I know
period.
everybody look at me like I'm crazy. What are you talking about? I'm not checking up and not all. Listen, forever is a long time. Y'all out here spending all this bread for a party that, and you don't even know if this relationship is going to last.
Because if you can make it 10 years, and
If you can make it 10 years, and
and
you
what's
know
Need
what
the
at
I'm saying,
least
importance?
without
5.
obligation,
What's
I'm
the
gonna tell you
At
why.
importance?
least
I'm gonna tell
5.
you why because if, like, for instance, I've been with my man for 13 years. Clearly, he's here because he wants to be here. There's no piece of paper keeping him here. There's no
Right.
legal obligation for him to stay here. He can
And
dip
that's
off
the
me
thing.
right now if he wanted to. He chooses to be here, just like I choose to be with him. That's how I know that's real. If you got that,
Yes.
if you got to get the man to tell you to be
Right.
faithful to me and do all that, then it's not real. We grown. I understand when you young and all that, but we talking 30 plus.
If you're not
No,
going nowhere, you're not going nowhere.
that's a
Period.
fact.
With or without
That's a
the
fact.
ring. And if
Now,
you are gonna cheat, you're gonna
I
cheat
feel
with or
like
without the ring. If you're gonna leave, you're gonna leave
that
with or
holds
without
and
the
that's
more
just
ring.
the
weight
legal
for
marriage thing.
me.
If you gonna do
Yeah,
that,
that's
because
Yes,
there's a
I
lot
would
I
do a
feel
of
like
listen,
that is
ceremony.
it's
I would
easy to
do
get into it. It's hard to get
hard.
out, and it's
They
fucking
force you to stay
expensive.
in it for
It is
30 days.
expensive to get a divorce. It is
Unless you live in
expensive
Kentucky.
and it's heartbreaking when you got kids. Now I'm telling you, I've seen this. I've been
Yeah, it
witnessing
can
this.
get bad.
It can get real bad when you got
yeah.
children involved, and you just simply just want to get away from this person, and it ain't that simple. So signing them
I
papers
feel me
is
personally
serious.
that holds a lot more weight. Like if a man told me like I'm not going nowhere and he's showing me that he's not going nowhere, even if we're not in a marriage, that to me holds more weight because especially if you're showing it because that men don't understand what that well at least for me what that means to a woman when you say you're not going nowhere. That means no matter
Mhm.
what happens, the ups and downs, the good, the bad, I know that you're going to be here. So that right there just allows us women to just be like, breathe. And a lot of
Being your
men don't
feminine.
Exhale.
understand that we can
Wait a
be
minute.
dating.
Exhale.
We can be dating and not even in a relationship. But if you're like, look, I'm not going nowhere, like we got this bond, like that means that holds so much more weight. And I agree with y'all about the connections and learning lessons. Like one thing I know that I learned from one of the connections that I was dealing with, I wasn't in a relationship, but I was in a connection. It was definitely a karmic. It was just crazy. But one thing I learned about that connection is friendship. That's one thing he taught me. He was very aloof. He wasn't very in touch with his emotions until we got like really deep in it and I started to see the emotions come out of him. But it was like once I started to be like, well, whatever, that's when you wanted to show up. But when I needed the emotions, where it was at. But anyways, I digress. What he told me, what he taught me in that connection is about friendship. When I entered into that connection, I was very emotional. Like I'm still emotional, but I have more of a balance now. And when I entered that connection, I didn't really, he was more so of friends first. Friendship is the like friends. I'm like, I'm ready for a relationship. Like I'm ready for the romantic part. And he really like if it was not for that connection, I would not understand the dynamic and the importance of a friend. Like I thought that I understood it, but him not really giving me what I was really trying to get right off back and really kind of solidifying in the friendship. And to this day, like we cool. And I can really call him a friend because we had a friendship and that even though we didn't work out, I don't want him, he done moved on. That's fine. It's water under the bridge. And even though it was like a crazy ass relationship, a crazy ass connection, I forgave him for myself and I'm okay with being cool with him. And that's very commendable and very big of me because 10 years ago, bye, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone. But for me to still be able to talk to you and conversate with you and still have a friendship with you and we can kick in and be cool, that is huge for me. So I can be like 10 years ago, I could tell you right now if I was in a connection with somebody and it didn't work out, oh, I'm not being a friend, I'm not talking to no more, blah blah blah, whatever. But to this day, I understand when people say that they have a friendship or they can still be friends with somebody,
That's
you
the
know,
only way you can have a long term
that
relationship, either.
that they're
Because
not
most
with.
of the
So yes, but to wrap everything up, as far as karmic relationships and and with the trauma bonding and then the twin flames, pretty much the difference is it's the intensity, the ups and downs, the toxicity. That's more on the karmic side, learning lessons to help you grow and evolve as a person, and not as a connection but as a person so that you can be better for yourself, for another connection, and you can learn stuff about yourself. It's very eye opening, but it can be very hard. More so on the twin flame side, it's more of a mirror. You're triggering each other and helping each other grow and evolve on a possibly on a more spiritual level. And those connections can last and they may not last. It just really depends on two people's efforts, wanting to put in forth the effort to make the connection become or grow or be whatever it is. So overall, all connections, it doesn't matter what kind of connection you're in, soulmate, twin flame, karmic, you all need, everybody needs to do their due diligence. They need to know, have, discernment, have balance of emotions and logic, know
emotional
when to
detachment
leave,
from the
know when to
experience.
stay, and just kind of
Enjoy
look
it.
at the
Just
connections.
enjoy
Yeah,
it.
enjoy it. Look at it as an experience,
Experience.
and that's it.
Experiencing.
And you're gonna meet a whole bunch of people in this life. It just is what it is. You have to know when to let go and just be yourself. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You'll meet
Right.
somebody else, and it's
You
okay
will.
to be alone. You don't have to feel
Yeah.
like you're suffering or you're cursed or something like that because you're single and you're not with somebody. Take it from me. I've been single for the last 12 years. Okay. So it's okay. It's gonna be good. You just gotta heal, do the work, and keep pushing. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, y'all can go on ahead and tell them where to find you. Frida, since you was talking, we're gonna let you go first. Do your thing.
So I consider myself an intuitive spiritual counselor, not like a tarot reader, because I use my intuition to read cards and things like that. I do private readings, personal readings. You can reach me at Scorpio2Sun2 at gmail.com if you're interested in a personal reading. If you're interested in like collective readings, I do them by sign, I do collective, whatever, divine feminine, divine masculine, readings about, work, finances, general stuff, spiritual stuff, all of that. You can find me on YouTube under Scorpio Sun, or you can look me up under my name, Taquita Parker. And then I have a private group on Facebook called Scorpio Sun. I usually sometimes go on there like maybe twice a month and I do free readings. You can ask any question, I'll answer it. And it's a growing community. So if you're interested, you can follow me there. And then I'm also on Instagram at the realty underscore tarot. If you want to follow me on there. And I'm here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. with my sisters.
Hey, all right, it is your turn.
Peace. All
Get a me.
right, guys. Okay, so Misha's Healing Love, certified Reiki practitioner, slowly transitioning into master. I just want to experience the time frame of experience before accepting it. But spiritual counseling and light worker. So that means that I offer services when it comes to energy healing, crystal healing, sound healing, um, healing touch therapy, as well as spiritual counseling, life coaching, assistance with nutrition, and helping people figure out what alkaline diet is. Alkaline diets are key to reversing a lot of disease. So just being able to give that nutritional factor to clients. You guys can find me on Instagram at Misha's Healing, or Facebook at Misha's Love Tribe, not Misha's Healing, Misha's Love Tribe, and YouTube at Misha's Healing Love. Also, you can contact me at Misha's Healing Love at gmail.com. And yeah, TikTok, Celestial Reiki 33. And so you guys can go check out some of my Reiki videos. So yeah, that's me.
All right, guys, and y'all know me. Y'all can find all this on Amspire Media Network on Roku TV. Make sure you get one. The cheapest ones are $25 at Walmart. Okay, $25 will get you all this inspiration. Okay, we have several podcasts. We have our Tell True Vision Social Media Live, where I tell all those uncomfortable but needed truths. We have Amspire interviews. We have a new one on Friday. Check out Matthew Santana. He's a serial entrepreneur. I cannot wait to introduce him to you, and hopefully he'll have some services for you. Of course, Sundays with Spirit with 33 Master Teacher. Love, love, love her. She is awesome. Sundays are normally, I'm saying, religious, but we're going to bring spirituality to Sundays, you know what I'm saying, and make it stick. Okay, so make sure y'all tune in on Sundays. And of course, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. with the Sistar Soul Sistar Therapy Childhood Trauma Podcast. What else we got? What else we got? If
Roku.
Roku, right? If you, I said that earlier, but yeah, if you got a content, if you need some distribution, you need a home, if you have if you have a business that you want to advertise, please look us up. Let me get you the email. Yes. Ampspire Content 999 at yahoo.com. That is Ampspire Content 999 at yahoo.com. Or you can call our marketing director, Andreas Cook, at 478-388-0208. All right. Me and Andre is taking over Bacon, and Ampspire Media is going to take over
The
streaming
world.
channels. Yes, we're gonna take over the
We're
world.
gonna plant all the seeds in the minds of the
Yes,
world.
we are. All right. Well, we
We're
love,
gonna heal the
love
world.
y'all. I'm so silly.
I'm
But
sorry.
we love, love, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. Let's get healed, y'all. Let's get healed.
Love.
Peace.